It's time for the Pacer! What we have here is a 1976 AMC Pacer of magicness.
It's time for another onX Build Challenge team visit, and this time we're headed to one of my favorite off-road destinations on the planet, Moab, Utah. This visit is to our only two-person team in this year's Build Challenge, Colt from Colt Builds It, and Rory from Trailmator.
My name's Colt Cluley. I am the proud owner of Colt Builds It.
Alrighty, my name is Rory Irish. I run a YouTube channel called Trailmator. I have Trailmator Off-Road Recovery here in the beautiful land of Moab, Utah.
Colt is the builder of last year's winning Build Challenge vehicle when he was part of Team Bleepin Jeep. But now he has his own YouTube channel, Colt Builds It, where he showcases his low-buck approach to building hardcore off-road rigs. Trailmator is the off-road recovery channel operating out of Moab, Utah. Off-road recoveries in Moab are different than anywhere else in the country because when someone breaks on the trail, there's usually not an alternative way to get to them. Your only choice is to run the trail, fix the vehicle, or haul it back out. This makes for some great trail recovery videos.
The biggest issue that I think we're gonna have is cutting up a really classic, really nice car.
Rory and Colt also brought a car to our stock vehicle competition, and it performed as you would expect, poorly.
I mean, it did all right. I was having more fun with it, just throwing the strap over my shoulder and trying to pull the car and help out in the tug of war.
Colt is the builder of last year's winning Build Challenge vehicle when he was part of Team Bleepin Jeep, using the Bleepin Jeep mantra of simple, cheap, and functional.
So if you guys watched last year's Build Challenge, then you know that I built 99.9% of that S10 and actually ended up coming out and performing really, really well. We were able to dominate in a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the competitions.
Dominating the competition is going to be a little bit more difficult this year. Colt's facing 6 other teams who are all gathering votes right now online at onXoffroad.com. And this year, you can join us on our onX Offroad road trip. Simply follow the link on your screen to fill out the application to be this year's wild card slot, and you can spend a week in the dirt with us as we head to the annual SEMA show.
We're at my shop here in Moab, Utah. This is Trailmator headquarters, basically. This is where we run my business out of and build all our stuff.
So I'm currently in the situation of building my shop. We just moved to New Mexico and I'm still putting my shop together. I don't even have a lift in it yet. Being able to pick your rig up and down 1,000 times while you're modifying and tweaking and testing things is absolutely the only way to do it. Like it's a night and day difference having a shop and having tools and having a lift where you can actually do that kind of stuff.
Well, so far we gutted the whole Pacer, the drivetrain's out of the Pacer, the entire interior's pulled out. We've started cutting to where we're fitting the body onto the frame.
I have a Jeep TJ that we charge to the build, on 35s, short arm kit. It's nothing super fancy, it rode like a log, but it does have a pretty decent drivetrain underneath that is a good starting point for this car. Everything we got in the drivetrain came from the Wrangler. So the Wrangler actually had an Atlas transfer case. The transmission and engine are just stock Jeep Wrangler stuff. So it's got a 4-liter, fuel injected 4-liter, and a 32 RH, I believe, a 3-speed automatic. Barnes 4-wheel drive actually has a belly pan kit that gives you your 4-links. So we don't have to sit there and figure out geometries or anything like that. They already have it set up. So we can bolt it in under this Jeep, weld up the parts we need, and we already have a 4-link mount to build our 4-link long arm kits for this Racer Pacer.
Instead of using the Pacer radiator, we'll just use the TJ radiator, which we can build a hoop radiator support here, you know, and putting this hoop in here will keep it under the hood and kind of hidden. We can build a mount in here, hide the winch behind the grill, do our fair lead right here below that. I think that'll look good. And then we'll do kind of, you know, the pre-runner stinger off of here, do some bars out, do some rock sliders. Got it right here to where we could keep coil springs and do a shock, or we can literally cut this out and we've got room to do shock towers to then tie into this radiator bar, to then tie into our interior cage, keep the car all structural and solid. So I like everything about it. And we cut the frame and we have it stretched out around 18 inches. It's kind of vague at the moment. We haven't really set on our wheelbase or where we're gonna set the frame at. The wheelbase is all adjustable by links.
Originally with the Pacer, we wanted to go just full Baja truck style with it. And after discussing it and pricing everything out, it's just, you know, a Baja truck is $500,000 to build, and at a $20,000 budget, that's just unobtainium. We have just cut the frame and stretched this out. This Pacer is quite a bit larger than a Jeep Wrangler in every aspect, length, width, and all the above. So right now we are actually modifying the body to get it closer to the frame so it doesn't look like a 90s Trar, and it's gonna look like like it's supposed to be mounted to the frame.
Trailmate recovery. Defined, broke down. Yeah, I've got parts. I just need to know whether whether the knuckle broke or whether we just need to reassemble. Gladiator's in Pritchett, and he broke a front axle shaft and unpressed the ball joint, so the tire fell off. Luckily, it didn't break the steering knuckle, so we've just got to go in, take everything apart, repress the ball joints in, reassemble, and pull it out in 3-wheel drive. Now we're gonna load up, probably throw all the tools we can in the buggy, and get ready to rock in there so that we can get it done before it gets too insanely hot, or until the flash floods show up this afternoon that are supposed to be coming.
While in Moab, a freak monsoon rolled into town, and that meant Rory had to mobilize his crew and head into Pritchett Canyon to rescue a broken Jeep before Pritchett Canyon turned into a river.
We use onX a lot in the recoveries because people can tell us where they are, or they can share their location if they have the onX app. We've used it quite a bit in going to areas we're unfamiliar with. But yeah, we do get a lot of calls in a lot of different places where we're unfamiliar with the terrain or with the property or with the trails in general. So having that to give us an update and tell us and help us navigate, so much better.
With Rory rescuing a Jeep Gladiator, Colt is going to press on by himself to finish welding the frame together.
Because I wanted to build something outside the box, I knew that I personally had never seen an off-road racing Pacer. I mean, I've seen a Pacer that they built that they off-roaded, but it was still the rear-wheel drive car. I've never seen one that's four-wheel drive built to like jump and go fast and do things that would be fun in the desert.
I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm glad that we set on using a frame that's very popular in the aftermarket and off-road community so that we have something that we can work from fairly easily.
So just like last year, I got my junkyard axles. I did a video on that where I actually acquired a van 9-inch because it's wider than a regular pickup truck. A lot of people don't know that. And that's gonna give me the same stance as my front axle. So I did a 9-inch and a 44, which is a common build for a lot of people that can't afford to buy 1-ton axles. And I'm gonna use Yukon gear and axle again for my 488s, my Grizzly lockers and things like that to build those axles up and give me the size I need and the strength I need to run 37-inch tall tires.
Colt's built a lot of awesome rigs, and so he's full well great at everything, at the welding, at the wiring, at all the stuff, you know.
So we're at a good spot with the frame, the front axle, rear axle, where we want. The engine is set back in here like a race car would be, where it's set back real well. The problem with that though now is that we had to cut out the firewall to actually fit where the brake pedal was. So I'm gonna have to modify moving the brake pedal and the gas pedal so that I got places for my feet. So I have my fantastical boat seat that was acquired to me through Paul from Fab Rats because they broke it off of their Jeep and they just threw it in here. But there's actually a lot more room in here than people think. This is like a big bubble. So you get the more shoulder space, you get a lot more room. I mean, I'm stretched, I'm 6'5" and I have lots of room here for a steering wheel. We can sit back in here comfortably, lots of cage space, but we're just gonna have to be wise with where we put our tubes. I am probably gonna move my steering column over a little bit, and obviously my brake and gas pedals to fit where we need them. Yep, the goal is to do a full interior cage. We might try to make some sort of light bar bracket for the front, and then maybe something to hold some stuff up top, a little basket of some kind or something, but it'll be lightweight material up there. Yeah. And this is where we're gonna put our spare tires. So we're gonna run dual spare tires.
So you said you're gonna do a spare and a spare.
Yeah, this is gonna be a full race car Pacer.
At least it'll look like it.
At least it'll look and work as good as the Fast and Furious cars.
While visiting each build team member, we're also getting some time in the dirt.
I think Poison Spider is one of the most epic trails and underrated trails here in Moab. It actually has dinosaur tracks and petroglyphs along the canyon walls. You drive by the Colorado River, which is gorgeous.
I love the views and the overlooks up on Poison Spider. It's beautiful up there. It's beautiful anywhere out here.
Poison Spider Mesa Trail is rated a 7 out of 10 on the onX Trail Card, and the elevation changes from 4,020 feet to a high point 5,053. It's 9.5 miles in length and has great optional obstacles and also leads into other trails in the Moab area, making it an incredibly popular trail to hit while you're in town.
Because we had such a gnarly rainstorm last night, I'm gonna get on my onX Offroad app, type in Poison Spider, and make sure that we don't have any trail closures going on today.
My favorite place to wheel is either Moab or Sand Hollow. I love both of them, but Moab, I mean, Moab's home. I was born and raised here, and I just love the area. I love the traction. I love the beauty. I just love everything around here. It's great.
Wheeling a dually, that's gotta be weird.
It's not as bad. You got to worry about the width. It's swinging wide enough to fit between stuff, and there's some places like where Eagles Dare up here, I can't even get through. Yeah. But the stability when you have a rig behind you, being that wide,
helps out,
is insanely helpful. And then if I lose a tire, I don't have to stop.
As somebody who's been blessed to actually wheel all over the country, I think every place has something special. Every single state in this country has something special that just makes it its own. I actually love all the different kinds of wheeling. I enjoy being out here in Moab because I grew up not too far from here, and this is a place that my parents used to take me. My dad took me here. It's really where I got the bug for four-wheeling. And since he recently actually just passed away, one of the things I'm really looking forward to is coming out here and just doing some trails here in Moab.
I got the truck and I actually put a pole on it just to move motors and axles around the yard.
Okay.
And then we jokingly called it a tow truck. I started trying, I would actually take my buggy out on Hells.
Okay, yeah.
And carry it around with the truck. see how it would do, like pulling the hills.
Like, yeah.
And it's like you pull up the hill, and if you have it too far behind you, your front end's in the air.
Yeah.
And played with that, and then started doing recoveries, and then it started becoming a thing, and it was just a side shoot of the shop.
Yeah.
So Rory had to go do his thing. Somebody already broke down in Moab, so he's gonna go get them, and Ian jumps in with me, and we'll keep going up the trail. This truck started out as a bone stock 92 Chevy S10. The four-wheel drive didn't even work, in fact. I took all of the worst parts of it, cut it out, and put some one-ton axles under it. The drivetrain's actually pretty solid up top with a 4.3 V6, 700R4 automatic transmission, and then I doubled up two NP231s together, which is an old school trick from like 20 years ago, to give my low-range transfer cases. My choice to build this truck was actually because my brother and I built our vehicles many, many years ago. I built the Comanche and he built the GMC Sonoma. And so I wanted to kind of recreate that with leaf springs and just building another S10. You just don't see many of these on the trail anymore. And I thought it'd be fun to bring some old school back to the new school off-road. So I really enjoy this trail. I used to take my kids on this trail when they were little, and then having Ian here with me today was a really, really good time. We had a great time hanging out in the truck, riding around in the old Smoke Show S10, and just bombing up some of these rocks. Last year I was so focused on being 100% budget. I wanted to use all the parts that I could get on the onX discount, like and try to get all the discounted stuff that I could, which really worked out well. I was able to build this thing on a really good budget.
While on the trail with Rory, I asked him if he had any tips for what he sees people often forget before they hit the dirt. Considering he spends most of his days saving wayward off-roaders, I figured he'd have some great insight on that topic.
I see a lot of people that don't have a winch. Yeah. But I mean, I see people that don't have the winch, but like basic recovery gear. Like, you want to have a rope, you want to have something. That's the biggest thing, is the ego is what gets so many people.
Yeah.
I didn't complete the trail if I winched. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
And you live to wheel tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah.
Like the whole I'm not winching snap. Well, now we're here all day.
Now we're definitely winching.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
So as a new channel, I'm just really happy and excited that onX was willing to give me the opportunity to come back again as last year's winner and see if we can hit it again. So please make sure you go and vote. Vote for Team Trail Builds It or Team Colt Mater, however you want to put it, at the onX app.
After spending the day with Rory and Colt, I was glad to see they've made a few key changes to their original build plan that they talked about at the stock vehicle competition. A lot of times when people build off-road AMC Pacers or Gremlins or Eagles, those are the popular car models that were built by AMC, they kind of look at it and say, oh, it's basically the same as a Jeep because it's got a straight six underneath the hood and it's rear-wheel drive. But it is a unibody vehicle, unlike the Jeep CJ5 and CJ7 that AMC was building at the time. Although it looks similar, it's not. A lot of the times when people try to just basically take the Jeep drivetrain and force it into the AMC unibody basically architecture, it doesn't fit and they hit a lot of roadblocks and it ends up not working as well as they had originally planned. Simply stripping all of that out, starting with a Jeep TJ chassis, I think was the right decision. I think in the end, it's gonna make the vehicle a lot easier to build and a lot cheaper to build. Where are they at budget-wise? Well, they're at right around $15,000 by the time you factor in buying the TJ, buying the Pacer, and then the parts that they've bought both new and used. And so they're just under that $15,000 mark, maybe $15,100. I have to add it up completely to make sure. But that still leaves them a pile of money left, considering they essentially have every hard part they need in place All they really need to do now is buy some tubing and some steel, throw a bunch of labor at it, maybe some small things like seats and belts and anything they want to have inside the car. But will Colt win this year, giving him back-to-back titles in the onX Build Challenge? Well, only time will tell. You can vote for your favorite team by following the link on screen, and we'll see who's in the lead when we start our road trip this fall.